Okay, 6:59. Should we wait 1 minute?
It's 7 o'clock somewhere.
It's 7 on mine.
We're missing Lori and Melanie, but we will get started. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the October 1st, 2012 meeting of BOHS number 6 board. Calling to order at 7 p.m. on October 1st, and we will start out with clerk's report, and we have 2 sets of minutes to approve, which have both been distributed. I believe everybody has August 20th and September 10th. Is that correct? That's the 2 that I have and have reviewed. Okay. We should approve them separately probably. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes of August 20th, 2012.
Second. Second by Ricky. Okay, is there a discussion or additions, corrections, deletions? Not all in favor of approving August 20 minutes, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Nays or abstentions?
I abstain. I wasn't there on the 20th.
You were not there.
You were there on the 20th?
I think that was the one I missed, wasn't it?
Absent is me, I believe.
Yeah, you're listed as absent on the 10th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mike was the...
Then I will vote for the August 20th.
Maybe I should abstain.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea since you weren't there. I mean, you can trust that this really did happen, but you can abstain. Okay, yes, this is August 20th, and according to my records, Mike was the one that was not here.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I vote for that.
Okay, very good. Okay, September 10th minutes. Would someone like to move them?
I move approval of the minutes of September 10th, 2012.
Okay, Ruth, and a second.
Second.
Russ, second. Okay. Comments, corrections, additions, deletions? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of September 10th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions?
I will abstain to that.
Okay, and Melanie was not here, but not here yet. Okay. We move on to communications. Are there any communications this evening? I have none. Yes, we'll do that here now. Okay. Yes, that is a communication. That's a good point. We did receive a note on behalf of the First Congregational Church thanking us for our contribution in memory of Lynn Cora. Pass that around. Okay, anything else under communications? Anything else for the clerk's report? Okay. I don't see any groups or individuals here. Same crowd. The usual habituates. Okay. Consent. Is there a motion to move into consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Ruth. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody say aye, raise their hand so we can catch up. Okay? All right. We're in consent agenda. We'll start with finance.
All right, finance met on September 12th. I believe. And we approved warrants numbers 1031, 1033, 1035, 1037, 1038, 1040, 1041, 1042, 1043, 1044, and 1045. For a total of $635,179.93. And we didn't have any payrolls, and I think the other things that we discussed were mostly the bleachers and the fact that that project is coming along nicely, is about completed, if not, hopefully by now it is completed. And we discussed budget committee, schedule for budget committee meetings.
So is that the only finance committee meeting we've had since the last? Yes, it is, but I showed that as the 19th, but I guess we have only had one since our last board meeting.
I think so.
And we have another one scheduled for Wednesday the
Wednesday the
3rd,
3rd.
7:30. Okay. Anything else for finance? That's it?
This,
Okay.
unless you can think of
Can I
something.
just ask, this says 7 o'clock AM,
Yeah,
and I thought you said 7:30. Yeah, it's dreamy.
I said 7:30?
Yes, you did.
Okay, well, then it's
It is
correct.
I was gonna ask.
Wishful
about
thinking.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking.
7 a.m.
Yes, I looked at 7 AM.
Right, I wish you did.
For 7:30.
Yeah, 7 a.m. Okay, planning and policy.
Not that.
Do we have policies in
We
front?
don't.
So I have a question about that. I've got a stack of policies. May have come up in a June meeting, but I'm not sure if they were approved or not. D1, personnel recruitment, selection, appointment, background checks.
Yes, that was approved.
Okay, so the whole batch probably. Staffing and job description, do you have everything?
They were approved on the August 20th meeting, they're listed in the minutes for the August
Okay.
20th meeting as being approved. D1, D3,
F1.
F1, F2, and G60.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry, go on, finish.
Well, does anybody need a set of these for their records, or do you have them all?
The, if there are no current policies under consideration, is the planning policy committee warned automatically?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably end that until we get some policies.
And you will have a new set of 5 that will come through the SU, and that could generate 5 more that we want to review.
Okay. So, will they be come through to put them on the next regular schedule, or should we not warn the meeting, not warn policy?
They're going to come up Wednesday night.
Yeah.
What's the timing of your next meeting?
Well, it would be the next board meeting.
Yeah, which would be the 15th. I just want to make sure so we know if there really is a meeting or isn't a meeting.
No, it would be the first Monday of the month.
Oh, right.
Next month, so it wouldn't be
So it would
until
be
the
not
first
the
Monday in
last
November.
Okay, so then those should be,
Yeah, and by then that'll be done,
Right.
right? Okay, yeah.
yeah, okay,
So that'll be the first Monday in November.
all right. Okay, let's, teacher curriculum committee, I know they've met.
Yeah, we met earlier this evening. Most of the time we reviewed where 1% was at, what was completed and who hasn't, and where the process is, and started to put together a schedule for going and seeing some presentations in teachers' classrooms at upcoming TCC meetings. So that's how we spent most of our time during TCC tonight. So we'll
Okay.
be seeing some presentations in the coming weeks, which should be interesting and exciting from the things that they learned and did from the 1% guys.
Okay, thank you. BAMS committee,
Has not met since our last meeting, but we are meeting prior to the next meeting in 2 weeks from tonight.
okay. WRCC committee in small form met on the 27th, and we reviewed 2 1% requests, one from the culinary department and one from Linda Quay's bailiwick, and that was the primary business. Those have been approved. We did, as usual, some discussion of enrollment, where we stand. That's been reported out at the Regional Advisory Board as well. And we talked about, briefly about revising programs or evolving programs, I guess, as students' interest and the needs of the workplace change, particularly the culinary program. And we need to constantly be evaluating all the programs, and if the market is changing, things are changing, student interest is changing, we need to think about changing the programs appropriately. So that was the discussion in WRCC on the 27th. Is there anything else for consent?
You want to, just in terms of committee reports, maybe I should report on the Supervisory Union Finance Committee. And we're going to be starting, I think it's October 24th, our budget review. And there'll be a series of 4 or 5 meetings, and I think it's December 11th maybe is when we're hoping that the whole Supervisory Union will approve the budget at that point. So there may be one meeting of those that I can't make, but it's not till after our next meeting here, so I'll let you know. But if anybody's interested in those, I think we're starting, I didn't bring it with me, but with the English language learner program first, and then I think our second meeting would be on special ed, and then OTPT and others. So I can get you a schedule of those if anyone's interested in coming down.
Okay. Along those lines, while I'm remembering it, we will have 2 representatives unavailable for Wednesday night's Oak Grove meeting. I'm standing in for Russ, but Ruth is going to be unable to attend. Is there someone else who could help keep me in line at the Wednesday meeting?
Can you remind us when the time is?
6:30 at Oak Grove School.
I can do it if nobody else can.
Thank you, Ricky.
Sure.
Okay.
And who's our third attendee?
Because Melanie represents Putney, right?
No, she looks like she represents PUHS.
Okay.
Just concerned.
Yeah, that's right. There's
Right, so that would mean we need yet another.
oh, she can't make it either.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay.
We're hoping to.
okay, well, maybe until we hear otherwise, I guess we'll assume that she will make it.
You're not likely to hear that
Do we need
until
to
Wednesday at 6:30.
Well,
Looking around,
we might be checking on that.
Yeah.
Do we need to formally authorize people to sit in? I think you're, what do you, I think you're the,
I'm the
You're
alternate
designated,
anyway,
right?
I believe.
Yeah, I think we officially have to make me.
should we
a voting member
approve
for
a
this meeting.
third tentative fill-in?
Anybody else would like a Wednesday night at Oak Grove
I
at
can do it Wednesday night if we need to.
6:30? That'd be great if you could come.
I move to authorize Ricky and Ian to represent this board at the WSCSU meeting scheduled for October 3rd.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay, we have duly authorized personnel to help us out. Okay. So that brings us to the end of consent agenda, I believe. Is there a motion to accept consent agenda?
So moved.
Ruth?
Second.
Lori? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. We move on to administrative reports. Ingrid is here. Welcome. And you want to start?
Sure. I was just going to share a little bit about the Guilford board meeting that occurred on September 17th. Sean was in attendance, as was Ron, of course, so I invite you to share with me. There were about 30 people in attendance. 4 of the 5 board members were in attendance, and my role was to apprise the board and the members of the public of who BAMS is, who we are, and what we offer our students. And I gave each person in attendance a packet, a folder of information about us, both curricular and co-curricular, fielded questions from the board and members of the public. A conversation ensued between the board and members of the public, and I think this is, I sense the beginning of a number of conversations that will now occur over time. Ron knows obviously how they're going to process this. March town meeting?
He'll do an Australian ballot, probably to happen at the town meeting. And then actually, if that was voted in affirmative, then the UHS 6 district needs to have an Australian ballot, probably a special meeting, because your district would need to accept those students as tuition students.
Will that mean a special town meeting for the town of Guilford?
No, it doesn't necessarily. They could tie that into their town meeting. The timing for them to do that is appropriate. I think I gave you the outline of.
Yeah, it was my understanding though that it had to be a special town meeting because we don't normally vote Australian ballot on those items. And I know Barbara Bowles was pretty clear when she was clerk that in order to do Australian ballot, you had to approve it, 1 year previously.
Let me read this this section to you. It might be that's the case. Part 1. Since the question about 7th and 8th grade is going to BAMS does not require an Australian ballot vote, and since Guilford does not use that method for public questions, there needs to be a special town district meeting. Following the 40 to 30 day warning time frame to vote on whether or not the question should be voted on via Australian ballot. So there would have to be a special meeting for that. The timing of this can be as early as the first or second week in November, but can't be later than January 24th. After that, there wouldn't be time to get the article on the town meeting warrant. It can even be held on the night of the regular board meeting, but would need the town clerk to check in voters and to the moderator to run the meeting. So yeah, they would have to do a special meeting prior to town meeting.
Yeah, I guess the terminology of special town meeting and how that would actually relate to a board meeting, I guess is the question.
Well, what he's saying is you can have that Australian special meeting on the night of a board meeting. You just have to publicize it as that. So it's probably unlikely you get the turnout that you get on a regular town meeting, but that would fulfill the requirement to then decide whether you want to put it as an Australian ballot question the day of town meeting. So that's the two-step process.
That has to occur between November and
January 24th.
November, what was it?
First or second week of November, but can't be later than January 24th.
You need a 45-day.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And then the second part of that, which relates to your board, back in 1956 when the Union High School District was formed, Guilford opted not to send 7th and 8th graders. But the original BUHS number 6 warning articles had a provision that said if any of the district changed their minds, the BUHS board would need to make a recommendation at a special meeting of the BUHS District 6 voters for those voters who need to vote. It's a smaller number of students, so it's not likely there'd be any issue. This could be as early as May 15th. That takes into consideration the 30-day reconsideration period after the Australian vote that would happen in Guilford.
Could that meeting be done the same way at a board meeting? Yeah.
So, Guilford has a lot of work to do. They hopefully getting a lot of input from the public, and as the board has said, they would want that decided by the town as opposed to the board recommending anything. I thought Ingrid did a great job presenting the details and the specifics of the program.
Okay.
We've had 2 very successful open houses within the past 2 weeks, grade 7 and grade 8. And we are beginning kneecap season tomorrow. Today, actually, we had a very fun pep rally in our gym. It was very noisy, intentionally so, with speakers and kids doing cheers around the kneecap and the band. It was a hoot, actually. So we begin we give it our best campaign right now through this time period. I remind them we're always asking them to give their best. So we launch tomorrow. That's about all for us.
Are you doing any, I think last time you did various incentive type of things, you're doing similar things this time.
As long as they reach the thermometer expectations.
If I could go back to the Guilford presentation, there was a BUHS student who had helped compile a whole set of questions, and it was really, really excellent, really well done, and good involvement by that student. So,
Do you recall the student's name?
I don't. No, I didn't know the individual.
No.
She was there at the meeting also.
Yeah, she was with her mom, I believe, in the back.
So that was a big help in the process.
Yeah, Penny Lucier identified her and applauded, Penny is on the board, applauded the student for working with Penny to generate questions.
I think the student is a junior here.
A junior.
Yes.
And she's doing an independent study, I think, of some sort here. Guys.
Okay, anything else, Ingrid?
Nope, that's all.
Thank you very much. We'll move down the road to Mr. Parent.
Sure. So we've had a ton of things happening at the high school. On September 12th, we had a student-athlete parent night that was very well attended. And I have to really compliment the job that Mary Ann Kinney, our Student Assistance Program Coordinator, and Chris Sawyer, our Athletic Director, did putting that program together. They did a phenomenal job. We had Debbie Haskins working with the parents, discussing substance abuse and its effect on athletic performance. And we had Cindy Hayford from Wilmington who came down and spoke about her own experiences in her job and in her family with the students. And also Richard Farnham, who also spoke at the Colonel Pride dinner, did a presentation to the students about harassment and hazing and its effect on team performance. It was a great night, and I was lucky enough I could go to see all 3 presentations, and I think the kids enjoyed it. I think several parents came up to me afterwards and said they thought it was very useful, and they hoped that we'd do it again in the winter. Last week we had our open house. It was very well attended, so well attended that we had to start late, but that's okay. That's a good problem to have. We had about 400 parents total here, and I'm not sure how many students that represented, because in some cases we had both parents with the student, but we were pleased with that turnout. And of course, we had homecoming last week. As I pointed out to the chair, the new bleachers do drain. The little concave holes do work. It's the first time we had a rainy game.
Dry. That was the only part of me that was dry.
That's what I thought. But the homecoming was really good. We had a lot of great spirit days during the day. Had a great pep rally on Thursday, and the students seemed to enjoy that. It was soggy on Friday night, but Saturday the games were well attended. And Saturday night we had our Colonel Pride dinner, our second Colonel Pride dinner, and by all accounts that was a success as well. And yesterday we had our athletic skills competition, and a lot of our students went. And my understanding was the biggest part of it were that all of our students had to do something from other sports. So field hockey players had to shoot free throws, and it was kind of to mix up the skills from each sport. But the one that took a lot of time were when various teams had to come up with their cheerleading routine. And I guess there's a video of that I can't wait to see of some of our athletes really working hard on that. Things that are coming up, on October 16th, we have the State Board of Education is meeting here all day long. And our student member, Lachlan Francis, helped organize that and helped get them down here for the day. At that meeting, we'll have our own Wyndham Regional Collegiate High School. There'll be a presentation by that group outlining for the State Board exactly how dual enrollment works and how it benefits all of our kids. We are also kicking off kneecaps this Thursday, not kicking our kneecaps, kicking off kneecaps. This Thursday, and then we'll follow that on next Tuesday and Thursday as well. And last but not least, on October 17th from 3 to 7, we'll be having our parent conferences. And so we'll be doing an early release that day at 12:30. I still have to coordinate with John Gagnon to find out when the Guilford buses are coming, but all the other buses will run at the regular time. So, thank you.
Is that a new release for the middle school?
No, it's just for the high school.
What time is the conference?
3 to 7.
Okay,
Thanks.
is that it?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Coughlin?
Certainly. I've handed out the fall adult evening course brochure. We offer 2 sets of courses each year, one in the fall and one in the spring. This particular catalog, I believe, has got 13 different courses on it, plus our online offerings that we really offer every month. And then generally, throughout the year, we have about 700 people take advantage of these courses, so it's a very good community resource. And the online courses, we usually have somewhere between 20 and 30 people taking online courses at any given time throughout the year. So it's proven to be a good community resource also. Next week, on October 11th, we're going to be taking 27 area students or female students to the annual Women Can Do conference up at Vermont Technical College. They're going to have a chance to meet with about 400 other students from 60 different schools throughout the state of Vermont. They'll participate in various workshops that are designed to expose girls to the career possibilities that are available to them through participations in the trades and various aspects of technology. And then we're really proud to announce, as we've gotten down through the year, that we at this moment have 54 students that are registered for direct college credit in our dual enrollment classes here at the Career Center.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Anything from the central office, sir?
Well, we've talked about the SU board meeting this Wednesday, and we have our reps coming. I had given you a copy of the Vermont Code of Ethics from the School Board Association for you to take a look before we signed off on it, but I'd ask you to do the signatures tonight, so we have that and say.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Board Chair, I have one item, actually a couple to mention, but one that I'd like to pass out. And this is notes from our July 16th planning meeting. Mike, who very correctly said, what happens to this? Do we just have a meeting and forget about it, or does it, we talk about it and remind ourselves? And I'm kind of late in doing this, but I did want to pass out. These are my notes as best, and there may have been other things that are discussed that I missed, but I thought it'd be a good idea we could at least tuck these away, and then periodically I know I'll refer to them and say, okay, is any of this going on as we promised ourselves? So we need maybe more of that, right? And if there's something we discussed, if we can remember, back in July. If it's not on there, by all means, let me know. But and one of the things, that, just to remind you, is that we committed ourselves to a board education topic once a month, and it is this is the first meeting, we're not having one, but is there a topic or an individual that somebody would like, an administration would like to propose? We had some ideas along those lines as to what types of things we were interested in. We did have a presentation from Mr. Holliday last month. BAMS or Career Center like to propose something for our October 15th.
We could take a night if you like.
We had talked about after-school programs as one thing that we'd be interested in hearing.
I will talk with the respective faculty members involved in that. Could we have possibly 2 topics, and I'll see which group of people.
We'll call it your slot.
You can decide,
Yeah.
and then you can let us know prior.
Oh, you want me to let you know? Okay.
This is one of the things that was mentioned in our planning meeting that was of interest. So, if there's something you think is more appropriate for this first one, there'll be more opportunities down the road.
Well, no, I'm thinking either the after-school programs or curriculum mapping. I want to bring some people here, and I need to make sure they're
That was
available.
also on the list
Right.
of things we were interested in.
So if you just let me know,
Okay.
like a week ahead, so we can have it.
Okay. All right. Actually, I get. Yeah. I can get a copy. All right. Okay. I guess those are the two things that I wanted to talk about. And that ends the administrative reports. Any unfinished business? Yes.
I was wondering if we're going to hear a financial report on the school hot lunch program at some point. The summer program.
You are. We're in the process of putting it together now, and it should be ready sometime by the October meetings. And
Okay.
if I can do it the first meeting in November if that works out. I mean, but it's available or will be available by then.
Okay. Well, maybe if you could just put that in your reminder
I
that
will, yes.
your report on the first November meeting would include an update on lunch.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else? Unfinished business? Okay, anything else for new business?
One thing that Lori had talked to us about last meeting, I just wanted to give you an update about the school resource officer memorandum of understanding. We have a draft that we've worked from over the last few years, starting when we had the first resource officer, which was probably back in at least 10 years ago. There was an act relating to school resource officers that changes a little bit in terms of the understandings that you have within law enforcement in the schools. The sheriff, Keith Clark, has been away on training, I think National Guard or something like that.
Yep.
So we have a draft, but I think what we'd like to do is have him review it with us before we circulate it and get input. So.
He actually sent me a draft, and I sent a draft back to him. But he's coming off of a 2-month absence, so.
So it's likely probably for the next meeting we have something to circulate.
Okay. Anything else under unfinished or new business rather? Wow.
I move
7:30.
to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We'll see you on the 15th, and we will be prepared for a little longer time because we're going to get educated.